This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Friday, February 13th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Senate Democrats block funding for DHS, and now a partial government shutdown is almost certain.
I hope that they will come to their senses.
I'm Joan Jones.
President Trump has revoked the key scientific finding that underpinned America's fight against climate change. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Investigators are asking residents in a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's home to share videos going back a month before her disappearance. I'm Jennifer King.
Americans reportedly taking on the brunt of President Trump's tariffs. I'm Clayton Neville.
On Wall Street, the latest on inflation will be out this morning after yesterday's stock sell-off. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
A judge has ordered that President Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the BBC can go to trial. Karen Shamas, London.
All ahead on America in the Morning. The Department of Homeland Security is preparing to shut down after Senate Democrats voted to block a bill to fund the agency. They complained that negotiations with Republicans to change immigration enforcement tactics have stalled and comes in the wake of 2 high-profile shootings in Minneapolis. Joan Jones reports.
The bill to fund DHS through September failed on a 52-47 vote in the Senate. 60 votes are needed to pass. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
From day one, I've said unless there are really strong, meaningful reforms to rein in ICE and stop the violence, there will not be Democratic votes to fund ICE and extend the awful status quo that now exists. Well, today, Senate Democrats made that point absolutely clear.
It means that unless senators can scramble together another funding deal and a vote, there'll be a partial government shutdown at midnight. Only DHS is affected, but even then, ICE and Border Patrol operations continue thanks to funding in the Big Beautiful Bill. FEMA still holds several $1 billion of funding, so it could potentially continue operating for several weeks or even months. And as for the TSA, employees aren't expected to miss a paycheck until mid-March. Democrats are demanding that Operation Metro Surge in Minnesota come to an end. Border Czar Tom Homan took that talking point away yesterday.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week.
They also want significant reforms like no more masks for ICE agents and mandatory body cams. Those are already on order. The Senate went home yesterday on a previously scheduled 1-week recess. The House is also adjourned, though members are on call to return within 48 hours if an agreement is reached. Some lawmakers are scheduled to head to the Munich Security Conference. Reaction to that from Republican Senator from Missouri, Eric Schmidt.
They're going to shut it down on Friday, and then they're going to head to Europe and go to Munich and badmouth American foreign policy to Europeans. So it's a joke.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has warned House members not to travel to Munich or to take any other government-funded trips over the break. I'm Joan Jones.
The Trump administration has revoked key findings that repeal the Obama-era greenhouse gas rules, being called the largest single deregulatory action by the government in history. Details from Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani.
President Trump's Environmental Protection Agency has revoked the key scientific finding that underpinned America's fight against climate change.
We are ending the federal government's push to get manufacturers to install that Obama switch, the almost universally despised start-stop feature. There will be no more climate participation trophies awarded to manufacturers for making Americans' cars die at every red light and stop sign. It's over, done, finished.
The 2009 finding determined carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases endanger public health and welfare.
We are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers. Prices went up incredibly for a worse product.
The president's declared it the single biggest deregulatory move in U.S. history, of one of history's greatest scams.
This determination had no basis, in fact, had none whatsoever, and it had no basis in law. On the contrary, over the generations, fossil fuels have saved millions of lives and lifted billions of people out of poverty and all over the world.
The move repeals all greenhouse gas emission standards for cars and trucks and could lead to undoing restrictions on power plants and other facilities. Former President Obama says the change means, quote, we will be less safe, less healthy, and less able to fight climate change.
This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically. You're going to get a better car. You're going to get a car that starts easier, a car that works better.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. Save on personalized comfort during Sleep Number's President's Day sale. Their best deals are on now. Limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. When we return on America in the Morning, the search widens in the investigation of the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. After these messages. You're with America in the Morning. We're gaining a little bit of daylight with each passing day as we approach spring. Here's today's forecast with AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
The daylight hours of today look dry in the northeast and really the vast majority of the east as well, with a fairly expansive zone of high pressure over the Ohio Valley in place to favor sunshine for quite a number of locations. However, more clouds can be expected over the interior northeast and northern New England as the next storm dives out of southeastern Ontario, and that storm will bring the risk for at least some snowflakes in the air tonight from Long Island, northern New Jersey, and much of western New York State into all but northeastern Vermont and south from there through Rhode Island and the western suburbs of Boston. The steadiest snow that may leave a general coating to 2 inches of snow through tomorrow morning should be limited mainly to areas from central Connecticut to southwestern Vermont and northwest from there across much of upstate New York. A separate storm that will turn into a prolific rain producer for parts of the south into this weekend brings the risk for severe weather for west and parts of north central Texas this afternoon and tonight, with thunderstorms that may contain gusty winds over 55 miles per hour, along with hail and perhaps some tornadoes. But there can be some rain from far southern California through much of the southwest and into southern Mississippi, with some thunder most likely for southern Arizona and from southern Oklahoma to mainly southwestern Arkansas. A large zone from the upper Midwest through the interior Northwest and much of the West Coast has a dry day in store. The main exception will be from northwestern Oregon into central Washington, where some wet weather can be expected thanks to a cold front making it gradually onshore. In Philadelphia, today looks to be mostly sunny and not bad overall with a high of 40. For Page, Arizona, watch for clouds and some showers in the area, the high 49 today. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Following the release of doorbell video and a person taken into custody and soon after released, Arizona police and the FBI investigating the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie have widened their search for surveillance camera footage in an effort to find the mother of NBC Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
Investigators in Tucson, Arizona are asking residents in a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's home to share videos going back a month before her disappearance. Seeing anything out of the ordinary could be important to the investigation. Ann Adams, who lives next door to Guthrie's daughter Annie, says agents wanted to look around her property.
They did ask specifically for the 31st of January and the morning of the 1st of February. And then they wanted to know if we saw anything suspicious on our cameras.
Hopes were raised Tuesday after the FBI released surveillance videos showing a masked person outside Guthrie's front door, and a man was briefly detained for questioning but then released. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says investigators are analyzing several pieces of evidence, including a pair of gloves. Today Show host Savannah Guthrie shared a home video of her mom on Instagram, writing, "We will never give up on her." I'm Jennifer King.
New data shows that Americans are taking the brunt of President Trump's tariffs. Details from correspondent Clayton Neville.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York report indicated that 90% of the tariffs imposed by President Trump on imported goods fall on American consumers and on American companies. Specifically, the report shows that between January and August of last year, Americans took 94% of the hit from Trump's tariffs. The Trump administration claims that the tax boosts are paid by foreigners, but researchers say their past work found that foreign exporters did not lower their prices at all. The New York Fed research comes as the Congressional Budget Office put out a similar statement saying that higher tariffs directly increase the cost of imported goods, raising prices for U.S. consumers and businesses. It added that U.S. businesses will absorb 30% of the import jumps by reducing their profit margins. The other 70% will be passed to consumers by raising prices, according to the CBO. I'm Clayton Neville.
When we return on America in the Morning, Trueflation, real-time data on the economy. That and more after these messages. America in the Morning continues with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger and a look at Friday business headlines.
Wall Street opens this morning after a sell-off for the major averages yesterday. The S&P 500 index and the NASDAQ are each in the red for the year. The Dow is on pace for its worst week since November.
It's a manic market. It's not, in many cases, being driven by fundamentals. I think it's rotation. I think those rotations then build on themselves because there's price signals that quant funds and others use to chase short-term momentum. And what started as a software problem has become a much bigger market one. And the carnage beneath the surface is so much worse than what we're seeing at the index level.
That's Wolf Research's Chris Senyek on CNBC. Apple shares had their worst day yesterday since last April. They fell 5%. Amazon, now on its 8th down day in a row, it lost another 2% yesterday. Investors are on hold for the latest on inflation coming this morning. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index for January. Inflation is expected to have risen at a 2.5% pace last month in December. The headline number was 2.7% year over year. The Fed's target is a flat, low 2%. But the White House is pointing out an alternative inflation number. It's called Trueflation.
There's this new measure out there that's got mentioned by the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, last week on his testimony before Senate Finance Committee, and that is Trueflation. It's a new way to measure inflation that's making the rounds, and they have thousands of inputs on real-time prices. A lot of people are citing it, especially the administration, because it's under 1%. It's the whole notion of affordability, right, and how that's weighing on consumers, but also what the Fed does.
That's CNBC's Sarah Eisen. Disappointing existing home sales last month, just when the real estate industry was hoping for a strong start to the spring home buying season. Sales last month dropped more than 8%.
That is a huge miss. The street was looking for about half of that drop. Sales down 4.4% from January of last year, and it is the slowest sales pace since December 2023. It is taking longer to sell a home, 46 days versus 41 in January of last year. 31% of sales were to first-time buyers, up from 28% a year ago. Prices in the positive territory. The median for January was $396,800, the highest January price on record.
CNBC's Diana Olick. On today's watch list, as we mentioned, we get the latest on inflation. The CPI Consumer Price Index out at 8:30 Eastern Time. Also, we get earnings from Wendy's and Advanced Auto Parts. New in theaters, Warner Brothers' R-rated Wuthering Heights, Amazon MGM's Crime 101, and Sony's animated family film Goat.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, love is in the air. A look at Valentine's Day around the world after these messages. President Trump's multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Great Britain's BBC will go to trial in 2027. Following proceedings, correspondent Karen Shamas.
A US judge has ordered that President Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the BBC can go to trial. Southern District of Florida Judge Roy K. Altman has set a trial date for February 2027. He rejected an attempt by Britain's national broadcaster to delay proceedings. Trump filed a lawsuit in December 2025 over the way the BBC edited a speech he gave on January the 6th, 2021. The president is claiming $5 billion for defamation and a further $5 billion for unfair trade. The publicly funded broadcaster has apologized to Trump over the edit of the January 6th speech, but rejects claims it defamed him. Karen Shamas, London.
We celebrate Valentine's Day tomorrow, and correspondent Lisa Dwyer delves into what love means to people around the world.
Across traditions and philosophies, love is generally defined as an ongoing choice that requires truthfulness and accountability. Some quote Shakespeare and Aristotle, some the Dalai Lama, and some the Bible when asked about what love means. Anke Verbeek and Jar Jacobs from Brussels are visiting Paris, the city of love, and say love is less poetry and more persistence.
We work late, I work early. So the communication is key.
Outside New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, two tourists from London, Kamisa Chavandari and Brian Murray, offer their own advice.
So like showing up for someone how you know they want to be loved.
Love can also mean loving thy neighbor, friend, family, your pet. So now you have to ask yourself, what does love mean to you? I'm Lisa Dwyer.
America in the Morning for Friday, February 13th, 2026 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
A hearing on immigration leads to frustration on Capitol Hill. I'm Clayton Neville.
Where was the communication before last year's fatal mid-air crash near D.C.?
People can't talk.
I'm Richard Johnson.
We now know who made the decision and who didn't know about the airspace shutdown in El Paso. Order Czar announces Minneapolis drawdown, and a potential school shooting thwarted in Indiana.
Is it worth a trip to visit Wuthering Heights on Valentine's Day weekend? I'm Kevin Carr.
At the Milan Cortina Winter Games, Ukrainian skeleton athlete Vladislav Haraskevich was barred from racing. I'm Ed Donahue.
Back after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning and an active weather map today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A storm that is expected to provide some much-needed drought relief over parts of the south this weekend will start to take shape over the southern portion of the plains today, and as it does so, a warm flow of moisture off the Gulf provides all the fuel that will be needed, with a cold front developing over New Mexico and tracking eastward to spark some thunderstorms that may be able to turn severe this afternoon and into tonight. AccuWeather severe weather experts say that there is some risk for thunderstorms that can produce flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts of at least 55 to 65 miles per hour, even a few tornadoes from West Texas toward the Wichita Falls area and into a small corner of southwestern Oklahoma. Away from that severe risk, there can still be some thunder for the rest of southern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, and western Arkansas, with showers perhaps reaching the Florida Panhandle as well. Showers of rain and mountain snow should be fairly widespread over much of the Four Corners region, with a stray shower extending into parts of southern California to the east of San Diego as well. A separate storm continues to push on shore in the Pacific Northwest, with some periods of rain over western Washington and showers for northwestern Oregon, but high pressure keeps the interior Northwest and the rest of the West Coast dry for this Friday. Downright balmy conditions push into more of the Dakotas and the upper Midwest today, with 40s and 50s in areas where the historical average highs are still in the 20s and 30s. There may even be some 60s getting into places like southern South Dakota. A storm may graze northern Michigan with some snow on its way into the northeast tonight, but otherwise a large zone of high pressure centered right over the Ohio Valley keeps today dry and generally comfortable from the Great Lakes region right through the eastern seaboard. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Testimony surrounding immigration enforcement in Minnesota was front and center during a hearing on Capitol Hill Thursday and got very heated at times. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
That hearing got contentious at times and came as a possible government shutdown looms over disputes surrounding funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats are calling for changes to DHS like no masks for ICE agents and changes with how they engage with the public. The demands come after 2 deadly shootings involving ICE agents in Minnesota. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison testified during the hearing and was ripped by Republican lawmakers.
A tragedy was going to happen, and you encouraged it. And you ought to feel damn guilty about it.
Senator Ron Johnson told Ellison he should have helped calm the temperature and accused him of creating hostility toward ICE agents in Minneapolis.
Let us work with ICE. Let's cooperate with them. Let's see if we can't de-escalate this. But Attorney General, you did the exact opposite. And 2 people are dead because you encouraged them to put themselves into harm's way.
And it's a bitch.
And now you're exploiting those 2 martyrs. That was a tragedy. It never should have happened.
And Senator Josh Hawley blamed Ellison for alleged healthcare fraud surrounding Somali businesses in Minneapolis.
It's 2019 whistleblower. Don't talk over me. As early as 2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019.
Don't call me
whistleblowers came to, well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
The back and forth got heated.
You helped fraudsters defraud your state and this government of $9 billion, and you got a fat campaign contribution out of it. You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
that's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the tenor just for the record.
I'll ask how I
he's
want
lying,
Paul.
and that's the truth.
Oh, no, this is all on the record.
Republican Senator Rand Paul pressed the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection. He asked about de-escalation policies and played video of the deadly shooting of ICU nurse Alex Preddy during a confrontation with ICE agents. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was not at the hearing, and her absence was brought up several times by lawmakers. Noem has also caught grief for her rhetoric surrounding ICE protests. I'm Clayton Neville.
As senators hold a contentious hearing regarding immigration enforcement, the Trump administration's border czar announced there would be an immediate drawdown of federal immigration officers in Minnesota. That story from correspondent Donna Warder.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week.
The Trump administration border czar Tom Homan saying the immigration crackdown in Minnesota is ending and that a significant drawdown already has begun. The more than 2-month surge of federal immigration officers in the state led to mass detentions and the shooting deaths of 2 Americans by federal officers. Homan on Thursday said the streets have been quieter.
We're seeing a notable decrease on unlawful agitator activity here in Minneapolis and overall throughout the state.
Federal officials say immigration sweeps in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area have led to the arrests of more than 4,000 people. Many of those taken into custody have no criminal record, and children and U.S. citizens have also been detained. I'm Donna Warder.
The head of the National Transportation Safety Board had a lot to communicate to lawmakers Thursday about the lack of communication that led to the mid-air collision of a commuter jet and an Army helicopter near Reagan National Airport last year. Details from correspondent Rich Johnson.
American 472, Washington Star 1 Star 32017.
The midair crash over the Potomac River has been blamed on the Army helicopter crossing the river and flying into the commuter jet's approach path.
This is Alert 3. Crash. This is Alert 3.
NTSB Chair Jennifer King told the Senate Commerce Committee the bedrock cause was the culture of government agencies dealing with each other.
When you go to an agency, the lack of communication, even within a large agency and between agencies, is terrible. I don't understand it. People can't talk.
Illinois Democrat Tammy Duckworth brought up the hotline between the Reagan National Tower and the Army's Copter Center and the fact that it was broken. And nobody knew that because nobody used it.
FAA's Deputy Chief Operating Officer publicly admitted that FAA had no idea that the dedicated hotline was not working for 3 years.
Texas Republican Ted Cruz has been trying to pass a bill that would mandate the installation on aircraft of ADS-B, a system that continually broadcasts a plane's location.
Had the Black Hawk and Bombardier CRJ been equipped to receive ADS-B location signals,
on January 29th, 2025, the pilots would have been warned of each other's exact position nearly 1 minute before impact.
And human non-communication between the FAA and the Defense Department was on even more display this week in El Paso, when the FAA ordered, then rescinded, a complete ground stop of all aircraft. It blamed a lack of coordination with the military and Customs and Border Protection. Hamady says her agency has tried for years to offer ideas on how to improve communication.
Recommendations that have been rejected, sidelined, or just plain ignored.
And to the families of the 67 who died in the Potomac crash, Hamady simply said,
"We should not be here today. This was 100% preventable."
I'm Richard Johnson.
When we return on America in the Morning, unbeknownst to numerous agencies, including the White House, investigating the closure of El Paso's airspace. And tired of chocolates and flowers? Try a Valentine's Day virtual solution. That in our tech report today. We're back after these messages. Two teenagers are under arrest and facing serious charges after they were caught planning a mass shooting at an Indiana high school. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Two teenagers have been charged with attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder after allegedly plotting a mass shooting at a central Indiana high school that one of them attends. The two teens charged as adults in the case are 17-year-olds from Indiana and Mississippi. Law enforcement officials say the two communicated over social media about a mass shooting in Shelbyville, Indiana. The investigation began in December. The mother of one of the teens approached police about her daughter's obsession and discussion of school shootings and her fear she meant to harm someone. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
More is being learned about the FAA's sudden closure of El Paso's airspace in Texas, including their international airport. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports the shutdown came without warning to the airport operators, the city government, and the White House.
Two sources tell AP the Pentagon allowed Customs and Border Protection to use an anti-drone laser earlier this week, and that's what led the Federal Aviation Administration to suddenly close the airspace over El Paso, Texas. One source said the laser was deployed without coordinating with the FAA, which closed the airspace to ensure commercial air safety. But in audio from KFOX, El Paso Mayor Renard Johnson complained,
"You cannot restrict airspace over a major city without coordinating with the city, the airport, the hospitals."
The Trump administration says it all stemmed from efforts to halt an incursion by Mexican cartel drones.
For any of us who live and work along the border,
Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez,
daily drone incursions by criminal organizations is everyday life.
I'm Ben Thomas.
Goldman Sachs' top lawyer resigned Thursday night in the wake of the Justice Department's release of emails and other material that revealed her extensive relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Catherine Remler was found to be a counselor, confidant, and friend to Epstein prior to joining Goldman in 2020. The New York Times is reporting that Remler advised him on how to respond to tough questions about his sex crimes, advised him on how to avoid unflattering media scrutiny, and addressed him as Uncle Jeffrey. She earlier served as a White House counsel under President Obama. Documents released by the Justice Department make numerous mentions of Remler and revealed an extensive relationship that spanned many years. Shifting gears, attorneys for a Chicago woman who was shot by federal immigration agents and survived want their version of the story told. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
We're going to make contact and we're boxed in.
Newly released footage from last October shows when Miramar Martinez, a Chicago teaching assistant and U.S. citizen, was shot 5 times by Border Patrol agent Charles Exum.
Watch out. All right, she hits us. We're going to make contact and we're boxed in.
We are boxed in.
All right, that's all now. All right, out of the car.
Be advised, we've been struck. We've been struck.
Get out.
Don't you move.
Her attorney, Christopher Parente, says they wanted to make the evidence in her case public.
You got to see why it matters, why it matters that people can actually see the real evidence as opposed to the false claims by our government.
Documents included an agent's hand-drawn diagram showing how Martinez allegedly boxed in federal agents that included vehicles Parente says didn't exist.
Miramar was able to get discovery in this case that shows you exactly how this agency handles a shooting in the immediate aftermath, and it is scary.
Homeland Security officials accused her of trying to ram agents with her vehicle, but her case was dismissed after video evidence showed an agent steered his vehicle into hers. Agent Exum has been placed on administrative leave, while Martinez is scheduled to attend the State of the Union as the guest of Illinois Democrat Chuy Garcia. Her attorneys are pursuing a complaint against the federal agency, accusing the administration of spreading lies about the shooting. Audio courtesy ABC 7, Chicago. I'm Jennifer King.
It's Valentine's Day weekend, and if you'd like to have the ideal date, a Chinese app has a virtual solution. Chuck Palm has details as the new old tech guy.
A Chinese company is making waves with the new virtual boyfriends that are winning real hearts and big money. The mobile dating game Love and Deep Space was released in 2024 and is the world's largest mobile dating game right now, with about 80 million users worldwide. Love and Deep Space is an action fantasy game mixed with deep romantic storylines. Players can customize avatars with their own face and voice, and then interact with characters like Qi Yu, a handsome wavy-haired painter that also happens to be a sea god from an ancient race. For many Asian women, it's more than just pixels on a screen. A 33-year-old civil servant named Zhu told a Reuters reporter she's been in a 6-month relationship with Qi Yu, playing about an hour every day and spending over $1,400 in real game features for additional story content. She said it was very fulfilling, and when she needs him, she just opens the app, and when she doesn't, she closes it without pressure or feeling dependent. Another user said the game prioritizes women's emotional needs in ways that real-life interactions sometimes fall short. The game has already pulled in $825 million globally, with estimates pushing towards $1 billion today. I'm the new old tech guy. Happy Valentine's Day.
Friday Sports on America in the Morning with Robert Workman.
At the Winter Games in Milan and Cortina, Italy, 1 silver and 1 bronze for the U.S. on Thursday. Chloe Kim was edged out in her bid for a three-peat on the women's halfpipe by her protege of sorts.
I want people to get into snowboarding. I want people to see how amazing it is. I want people, young girls, to see that they can do it.
In cross-country skiing, Jessie Diggins missed a silver in the 10K by just 3 seconds.
Leave it all out in the course, and I told myself, I'm going to be proud literally no matter what.
U.S. Men's Hockey opened group play with a 5-1 win over Latvia. Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, we're trying to have as much fun as we can with, not taking away for the ultimate goal, and that's, taking care of business and doing the best we can and ultimately winning here.
The U.S. now has 14 medals and are tied with Norway for second place behind host Italy. NBA, the Bucks surprised the Thunder 110-93 on the last night before the All-Star weekend. Former OKC forward Ousmane Dieng, traded at the deadline last week, lit up his old club for 19 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 block shots. Lakers got 28 from LeBron James in a romp over the Mavericks, and the Blazers used a 14-0 burst after halftime to beat the Jazz. The 68th Daytona 500 comes up on Sunday. Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe will start in the front row. Last night, Joey Logano and Chase Elliott won the twin 150 duels that set the rest of the field. William Byron is the two-time defending champion. That's Friday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, controversy at the Olympics over an athlete's helmet. That and more after these messages. Good timing. A new romantic drama is heading into theaters this weekend. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has a sneak peek at Wuthering Heights.
It's Valentine's Day weekend, so it's time for romance with Wuthering Heights.
Kiss me.
And let us both be damned.
Based on the novel by Emily Bronte, this tells the story of Catherine, a young woman, and her volatile relationship with her family's ward, Heathcliff.
I can follow you like a dog to the end of the world.
Full disclosure, I have not read the original novel, but this movie did not make me want to. With that said, the film has a beautiful look, vivid costume design, creative set imagery, and brilliant cinematography. Then there are the characters.
What should you do, Heathcliff, if you were rich?
The unrequited lovers, Catherine and Heathcliff, are beautiful to look at, but wretched, horrible people filled with greed, envy, wrath, and cruelty.
I suppose I do what all rich men do. Live in a big house and be cruel to my servants.
There's a reason why it stars two of the most physically attractive human beings on the planet. It would be a very different movie if they both grew up to look like Quentin Tarantino.
Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same.
The story revels in toxic emotion with characters of standing that long for a more affluent life while still abusing servants.
You want me to stop?
It's divisive, but some people will love it. For me, these Wuthering Heights gave me vertigo.
Are you feeling quite right? What? Oh, yes, fine.
Wuthering Heights gets 2 stars out of 5. I'm Kevin Carr, and that's the way I see it.
Controversy at the Olympics. An athlete from Ukraine was told he will not be allowed to compete. Ed Donahue reports that the athlete who rides a skeleton or a single-person sled head first at speeds of over 80 miles per hour and no brakes was banned because of what was written on his crash helmet.
At the Milan Cortina Winter Games, Ukrainian skeleton athlete Vladislav Haraskevich, a likely medal contender, was barred from racing after refusing a last-minute plea from the International Olympic Committee to not use a helmet that honors more than 20 athletes and coaches killed in Ukraine's war with Russia.
To be honest, I cannot understand for what I was suspended. And I still try to figure out it.
The IOC says the helmet breaks rules against making statements on the field of play.
Examples from Canada skier who was wearing a sign, I ski for Braden, so it was okay. She was doing her competition and she didn't get disqualified.
Haraskevich met with the leader of the IOC, Kirsty Coventry.
I really wanted to see him race today. It's been an emotional morning.
They didn't find common ground.
No one, especially me, is disagreeing with the messaging. The messaging is a powerful message.
The two could not reach a compromise. I'm Ed Donahue.
That's our show for today, Friday, February 13th, 2026. America in the Morning is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.